with that, I'd love to kick off the conversation. I'll do so with you, Nishant. Nishant, I'd love your take on what you believe are some of the existing, most blatant vulnerabilities in India's current education ecosystem.
Yeah. Thanks, Pooja, for having me on the program. So, as we all know, that India is a very young demographic, and education is super important for the advancement of nations as well as the individual citizens of the nation. And currently, Indian education systems have huge vulnerabilities that range from not having good scalable infrastructure in terms of universities, not having a digital aggressive plan on how to build scalable digital solutions to teach the citizens. And in addition to that, there's also a very strong dearth of qualified teachers in the ecosystem.
Right. Well, I think you've outlined them plain and simple, but of course the solutions are much more complex. And with that, I'll get to you, Ajit, because the pandemic-induced learning gap is, of course, as a result of countrywide school closures in nearly 200 nations. So, to what extent did technology truly come to our rescue in that regard? Your thoughts?
Yep. Thanks, Pooja, for having me here, and a great question, right? So, pandemic and pandemic-induced lockdown, right, was very disheartening for a lot of people, and especially the young kids, right, who are going to school, who love to go to school. And technology, remote learning has truly enabled that there's no learning gap, right? Of course, there would always be experiential gap, but it's not the learning gap that kids are experiencing, right? And another thing is that this has also allowed us to unlearn something, that learning can only happen in physical places, right? So, which is very, I would say, empowering for us as a nation, because now learning can be delivered remotely. People can learn anytime they want, right? Anywhere they want. And that is truly transformational for us as a nation. And as Nishant pointed out, we are a young country. We have a huge demographic dividend to play with. And it's truly transformational, and EdTech, technology-oriented solution, which allowed us to deliver learning at scale, was true rescue for most of the people, right from KG to 12 to even higher ed education.
All right. Well, I'd like to build on some of your observations, and with that, I'd like to come to you, Mukul, because if we were to talk facts and figures for a moment, right? I think if we look at the domestic market when it comes to EdTech, it was an approximate $750 million value in 2020, and that has, of course, extended by leaps and bounds, and that figure is expected to touch $4 billion by the year 2025. So if we look at the compounded annual growth rate here, it's upwards of 40%. But do you believe that this is all sort of a knee-jerk reaction to the pandemic, or is the spurt that we've seen in EdTech here to stay?
I think obviously, so what pandemic has done essentially is it has accelerated the user behavior by at least 2 or 3 years. This is very similar to what wallets did to us as an economy 4 years back. But what is very interesting to learn from that past incident is that it might have a blip once the rush of the pandemic goes away. But if you even look at wallet adoption on a 5-year basis, it has just gone, it might have had a few blips in the between, but it has gone steadily up. And very honestly, personal opinion, I don't think we could have survived pandemic if there were no wallets. And I think this entire amalgamation of the inclusion of online mediums, whether to upscale, whether to learn, or whether to school, I think these are all parts which will be built into our daily processes over the next couple of years. So yes, on a quarterly basis, you might see that there is lesser craze, but is the adoption going down? At least we have not seen that in user behavior.